Hey friends, and welcome to another YouTube video in which we're gonna speak about how your company can survive this upcoming crisis and how you can ensure that you are gonna thrive through it. Global economic crises often become extinction events for startups or small businesses. The Ukraine recession crisis is nothing different, and many startups or small businesses are really close to the point of closing business. Young companies and founders remain on edge without knowing if they will be able to have a Series A, if they can have a seed fund, or if they can keep employing the same amount of people that they are currently. With the actual stock market having its worst days, it is inevitable to think that most VCs won't actually invest, and that's actually true because 20% of VCs have withheld and have stopped and paused investment rounds. So it is really interesting to actually see that those events are no more an aftermath, but actually they are the reality we're coming in. And in this video, what I'm going to analyze is the actual ways that you can navigate and survive this crisis. And trust me, the companies that survive this crisis are the ones who are going to thrive in the next decade. Before we start, I'd like to introduce myself. We're helping startups, online businesses grow to 1 million ARR with our advice on sales and marketing. If you're interested into increasing the revenue of your business, then subscribe to this channel and hit the like button, because all I'm gonna be doing is giving more and more content about growing startups. And by doing so, you're gonna help the YouTube algorithm understand that what we're doing is effective and helps people. So back to the topic of the video. Is your company gonna survive the crisis? At the beginning of every crisis, you first need to understand if you're having a problem and how long you won't have a problem. Most people, when they have a business, they actually fail to do the first and the most important thing, which is proving that they have a business. So proving that they have profit. And this is a formula that not me, but YC Combinator has identified as the ideal formula to see if your company will survive a crisis. You'll see the link and you'll see how to use it. So if you see my screen on the left, you basically have three options. You have the weekly growth rate, you have your profit, and you have your costs. And you can play with them and you can understand what runaway you have until you actually are not profitable and you have zero money in your bank account. So if the number is on the green side, then your happy days, you're still surviving it. And if that number shows you that you're surviving it for another 2 to 3 years, then you can definitely ensure that you won't have any problem. Now, if the number is below the red line, then I'd suggest that you actually listen to this video even more carefully and make sure that you get yourselves ready for the upcoming crisis. In the next moments, I will be discussing the exact steps you need to take to avoid it. So first off, be smart about alternative funding options. So there isn't only VCs out there, and that's a really bad thought for many startups. They're scared to have a more risky approach, and when it comes to crisis and you're coming to survival, only thing you can do is risk. So some other choices that you can actually base on is revenue-based financing, which is something that many companies that are growing are using. So if you're a Series A or Series B startup, you should definitely consider doing that to raise for the next round, instead of actually investing into just a VC and trying to find another investor to come in. You can definitely keep 100% of your equity or the equity you currently have, and just do a revenue-based approach where people are getting money back from your revenue. One platform that can do it is We're Uncapped. And I really love their approach because they're really kind and really easy to work with. And apart from that, they have helped many of the companies that I'm working with to make extreme profit by giving them the funds they need at the time they need them. That without taking any equity or without taking any actual decision on what the startup activities are. Freedom, right? That's all what founders want. Second tip is that you cut all unnecessary business expenses. I know that this sounds like scary, but honestly, don't you worry. Cutting an expense doesn't mean stopping by doing something or that this will reduce your sales. Go back to your reports, go back to what you're doing, and make sure that you're not taking any activities that would bring your business into a bad position in the future. So for example, if you're doubling down on content and you haven't seen this working for at least 6 months, I would suggest you pause and reestablish this approach until you see this working and until you see this ramping up. I'm not saying stopping anything, I'm saying be more wise on what you're actually spending. Using the diagram that I showed you before is the best way that you can actually navigate and ensure that you're doing the right things. So for example, if you reduce a cost and that doesn't give you any runaway for the another years, then just don't reduce it. It doesn't make any significant importance in your costs. But if a cost is giving you a runaway and you still become profitable, then it's where you actually need to cut this cost off and you need to ensure that you don't repeat the same mistake again. Step number 3, and this is for big, mostly seed funded startups or bootstrap startups that have just started out, have up to 10 employees. And I think that this is a sweet spot to be in because you have the opportunity to just go against giants who are worried about just making sure that things are getting right, that they're not getting financed correctly. You have, let's say, Microsoft losing huge percentage of their stocks, and that is creating a huge crisis in the company. You can't imagine how big this crisis is. So this is your chance. You are able to be agile. You're able to be a small startup that is calm and can actually take the storm and survive it. You're not a huge ship that will just become a wreck with a huge storm. You're a small company that can navigate through the waves and make sure that you succeed. So this is your chance, and to grab it. Pivot. If you need to pivot, you are the ones who should. You're agile, you're small. You have the chance to change your business model. And you see, you have a crisis just right in front of you. So just pivot towards the direction of the crisis and just make sure that you pivot to solve the problems that the crisis will cause. So for example, energy problems or anything that you can solve that regards issues that are coming up from this crisis, go and do it. Do not wait. You have the chance right in front of you. Most companies like LinkedIn had actually thrived through the 2008 crisis. And last but not least, educate yourself. Now, there are 2 ways to educate yourself around that. The first way is to educate yourself about startups, and that's essential. You're a founder and you need to learn more about how to grow a startup, how to lead a startup, how to find product market fit if you're a small business, or how to scale your business if you're a larger one and you're looking at a revenue that is significant and can scale. So my point here is find those courses, and in this point I'd like to introduce you to my course. So basically I have started out and I've been giving this course for like a 10% price at the point. I want to make sure that I get enough people in that will give me feedback and will help me. So I will keep this offer live for the next 100 people that want to register, and it's gonna be a cohort-based course, and we're gonna have weekly calls which we will educate you about how to grow a startup, how to build your business and reach 20k MRR. So if you're in that sweet spot and you're trying to reach 10 to 20k MRR, I'd suggest you go and sign up in my newsletter, and you will be notified once this course is off so that you can buy it. The price will be significantly low, and the point of that is that I want to get enough people to validate and see if the things we're suggesting work effectively for people, or what adjustments we need to make. So make sure that we'll help you significantly in the process. And again, we're just starting out on this, but I'll be happy to see you join so that I can help you out as much as I can and give you the best value so that you can navigate through this crisis and succeed even without funding. The second way is to educate is via books, I mean, this is important. There are so many books out there written for the 2008 crisis and how companies navigated through that crisis. So one of the best books that I've read about that is Crushed by Adam Tooze, and I think that this is an essential book because it shows how you can actually navigate through a financial crisis and how a crisis can change the world, and will give you the ideas that you need to inherit in order for your startup to not only survive but thrive through that crisis. So make sure you read that book. I'll let in the description below an Amazon link to that book so that you can actually get it. So finishing off with a video, as you always know, I like to ask one question, and for me, what I want to check with you is what is the number one goal for your company to actually survive this recession. What would it need for you to survive this recession? Is that you need to retain more customers, or is that you need to attract more customers? Please comment below, and what I'll do afterwards is I'm gonna send you a book or a resource that I have published or someone else has published on that subject to help you solve that issue. So please comment and you'll get my answer within a day. In the next video, I'm gonna speak about something that many of my clients have been asking. We have been launching on Product Hunt recently with many of my clients, and what we want to do is that we want to create a guide for you so that you can do it yourself. And I think that this is a great opportunity for you, because through a crisis, if you have a startup, you need to acquire people fast. And what is the best way is to launch some communities where people already are there. This next video is gonna help you. So if you're interested and you want to see more, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video so that the algorithm pushes it out. Thanks again for taking the time and watching it. Keep daydreaming. Bye.